Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back, and I'm so excited to do this month's wrap up. I in total read 8 books this month, so let's just get right into it, because why are we gonna lollygag, you know? So the first book I ended up reading this month was Four More Words by Aurora Stenilson. I don't know how to say her last name, unfortunately. I actually had the pleasure of being sent this before it was released, so I got to read the early copy of it, and the book is out now on Kindle Unlimited, so you guys should definitely go read it, because let me tell you, this book had me hooked from the first chapter. Okay, I was hooked. Literally, this book put me through so many emotions, and it was such a wild story. I literally thought I was getting this cute little little love story. No, it wasn't. I don't know how to explain it. It was a roller coaster of emotions and this roller coaster love story. It was wild. I literally was like, what is going on? But in a good way, because I was like, wait a second, why is this happening right now? When this did not seem like anything, you know what I mean? And I don't want to give away anything because I really want you guys to go read this and support this author, because she's, I think, a new indie author, and I'm pretty sure she self-publishes all of her own books. And if she doesn't, then I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But anyways, I do want you guys to go and support her because she's super talented, and I absolutely loved this book. Okay, so basically this book follows Christine and Declan, and Christine and Declan have not seen each other, I think, in 10 years. Christine is at school, and I think she's in this master's or grad program, and Declan ends up working in the same town as her, and they actually run into each other due to a little minor accident that Christine has. And Declan used to be her brother's best friends. She grew up knowing him, but he at the time didn't give her the time of day. He wouldn't talk to her, he wouldn't even really look at her, and she was under this impression that he just didn't like her. And then obviously they meet up again 10 years later, and then this relationship flourishes and blooms, and it's quite lovely and really cute. And then when they get together, things start to unravel and unfold, and it's just this crazy journey of their relationship, a whole wide range of mental health issues that are brought to light with this book. That is definitely the best way I can explain it without giving things away, because if I say any more, then it's just too much information. I ended up rating this book, I think, 4 stars, and I stand by that. This book was amazing and great, and I highly recommend. Like I said, it is on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have it, definitely check it out. Overall, book was 4 stars, highly worth it, deserves to have more people read it. The next book I ended up reading in October is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is in one of my reading vlogs. I was very underwhelmed with this book. I feel and it could just be a me thing, I personally don't think I was in the mood for this book when I picked it up. I thought I was in the mood, but I actually wasn't, and I think that gave my overall impression of the book kind of bad. And I don't want to say bad, but not necessarily the best. So basically this book follows Aiden, who is trapped in this time loop to figure out who kills Evelyn Hardcastle. So basically he is stuck in this loop until he figures out who kills her, but every day he wakes up in a new body. So each day he still remembers all the information from the previous body, which helps him figure out who killed her. But if he doesn't figure out by the time he gets to the last body, he has to start all over again with no memory and try to figure out who killed her. The concept for this book is actually crazy and very creative, and I really appreciate that. But I think just for me, I wasn't really connected to the characters that much, or any of them. Some of them I found to be a little boring, when he was stuck in their bodies, and some of the things that happened and everything like that, within the storyline, just didn't interest me as much as I thought they would. The concept itself is really amazing, and I do think that someone else could enjoy this book a lot, but personally for me, I just don't think it gave me what I needed to really be involved. You know, I just personally wasn't involved in the characters' lives, nor did I really care about them, so it kind of hindered my experience a little bit. Overall, very creative, very well thought out, very well written as well. So I ended up, I think, giving this one a 3.5 stars, and I think I'm gonna stick with that. A 3.5, I feel that's a fair rating for this book for me personally. Like I said, the story was very interesting enough, and the twists that happened, well, actually, okay, let me go back to that. The twist at the end of this book was actually very good, because I was not expecting it at all, because it almost didn't seem like there was any indication of like that was gonna be the twist. Like when I think back to this book, I really don't think of like the foreshadowing that like happened, how the twist ended up being. So that was also very good and surprising, which I really liked. Honestly, I don't think I had any theories throughout this entire book of like who did it. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Moving on. The next book I ended up reading was When in Rome by Sarah Adams, and let me tell you, I absolutely love Sarah Adams. Her books, I eat them up. They're so good and so like engaging. I just love them. First of all, I think I read this in like maybe a day. Like I literally binged this book. Okay, I feasted on this. Absolutely loved the characters. Like literally like right now, like cause okay, like I am a Taylor Swift fan, but I would definitely say I'm in my Taylor Swift era of like everything. The main character obviously reminded me a lot of Taylor Swift just by like based off of like interactions that she was going through and like things that she was saying in her head. The one thing though that I didn't necessarily like about this book was like the way that Amelia talked about things, like especially in her head. I don't know, in my brain, like Taylor Swift does not think those things about herself, who is a pop star, and because Amelia in the book is a pop star as well, she just like, I don't know, in my brain, like she just doesn't think that way. So for Amelia to think that way is like really weird and kind of cringy to me. If you guys don't know what this book is about, this book basically follows Noah and Amelia. So Amelia is like basically on the verge of a breakdown and she needs a break. So what she does, she runs to Rome, Kentucky, because it is the closest Rome that she can get to because she can't fly to Italy, where she meets Noah because she accidentally breaks down in his front yard. She is stuck in Rome, Kentucky for about 2 weeks, and Noah is a pie shop owner and he kind of like wants nothing to do with Amelia at first. There's just like this crazy connection and crazy chemistry between them where like they just like cannot help but like be pulled together, and it's so cute and it's so romantic, and like I just loved this book. It was so good. I ended up rating this one a 4.5 stars. I feasted. Okay, like my review stands. I feasted on this book. I am not doing a very good job at explaining books. We know this. This is not surprising at all. I highly recommend this book. If you haven't read anything by Sarah Adams yet, you absolutely need to. I love these characters and I like ate them up, okay? Especially Noah. He looks and kind of reminds me of my own husband, so like that also helped with the book because I always end up picturing the main characters as myself when I'm reading. I don't know, that's just like a me thing. That's like an actor thing, I guess, because like any part that I read for, I'm always like, oh yeah, it's me. You know, even if I don't fit the physical description of the character, I always think it's me. Even though I kind of do fit the physical description of her, I just can't sing. And I'm not a pop star. So anyways, let's move on. The next 4 books I actually ended up reading are thriller books, and those were a part of my 24-hour reading. First one I read was The Housemaid. I'm not gonna go into too much detail because you guys can go watch my thriller video if you want a little bit more. So I read The Housemaid and The Housemade Secret this month, and both books follow Millie, who is obviously a housemaid. First one, she is a housemaid for a family called the Winchesters, and basically what happens is that she kind of like goes through this interview process and everything seems normal and fine, and then once she starts working for them, she kind of realizes like, oh, maybe this is not the safest place for me to be because she is a live-in maid. Her door locks from the outside. Basically, her bosses just aren't what they seem. She's like, maybe I should get out of here. But then things start to happen and she is stuck in this odd situation. The twists in this book are very good. The first twist didn't really surprise me that much, like I had said in my previous video, just because like it was kind of obvious as to where it was going just based off of other things that had happened. But the last twist in this one, yes, you guys need to read this book. It is so good. I was so addicted, okay? Like when I tell you I was addicted to this book, I was so addicted, I literally could not put it down. Like Frida McFadden does an amazing job of writing. She just makes you addicted so that you have to read every chapter once you get to a new one. Like literally I finished a chapter and I said, oh, okay, I gotta read the next one. It didn't matter what time it was. It did not matter. I literally was like, oh, okay, I gotta read. I gotta finish this. So good, so addicting. I ended up rating this one a 4.5 stars. Didn't give me that 5-star feeling. Thrillers are really hard to do that for me. Like they really have to trip me up, okay? Like there can't be any ounces of me guessing. Like they really have to trip me up, okay? For them to kind of like be a 5 stars. This one was really close though, okay? Like this one, I was getting that 5-star feeling and then I kind of guessed what happened. So I was like, you know, but still very good. Highly recommend. Same thing goes for the Housemade Secret. So this one kind of follows the same like plot line basically. She's a housemaid for a specific family. The twists in this book too are also very, very, very good. Okay, so this one follows Millie as she is basically just like a maid for the Garrick family. They're just not what they seem. Mr. Garrick is very mysterious and doesn't ever want Millie to go near his wife in the guest room. And then one day, Millie just like can't help herself because she sees, you know, something that maybe she shouldn't have seen, and she knocks on the door and gets a look at Mrs. Garrick and is like, oh my god. Story goes from there. And I hope that was a good explanation to entice you to go read it. But the twists in this, even better. I actually only ended up rating this one a 4 stars just because like the plot line was so similar to the first one, and the structure and the layout of the book. She probably has like a certain way of writing them so that they can all, you know, flow very nicely, especially since they're following the same character. Yeah, that's why I only ended up rating this one a 4 star, just because of how familiar it was. But I did actually end up enjoying this one more just because the plot twists got me way more and like were way more surprising. Next up, I read The Silent Patient. I don't know how to say his last name, but Alex Michaelides. I had heard so many great things about. People ranted and raved about this book, and it had been on my TBR for so long. And I'm actually really glad that I finally read it, because this was almost like a slow thriller, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know, you know, like a slow burn romance. This was like a slow burn thriller, a slow burn figuring out mystery, if that makes sense. So this book follows Theo, who's a psychotherapist, and basically his whole main goal is to get this one patient named Alicia to talk and tell her side of her story, because she has been silent 10 years or something like that. Doesn't speak a word. Everyone is under this impression that she had murdered her husband, and ever since then she is just silent. The twist in this book as well very much got me. It was very, very good, I will say. It was so weird because there was a point where like I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna really like this or if I'm gonna finish it, because I was kind of bored at the beginning. Out of nowhere, I was just hooked. I didn't even realize how into this book I actually was until I was like reading it, and I was like, oh my gosh, wait a second, I don't want to put this down. It was just like very much a slow burn, getting to know the characters and their lives, and just like watching everything kind of unfold and be uncovered. It was very, very interesting, very, very entertaining. I gave this book a 4 stars. I highly, highly recommend it. And the last thriller book that we have is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is the first Riley Sager book I have ever read. So many people ranted and raved, and I heard so many good things about this book, but then I also heard some mixed things about this book, so I really wanted to see for myself like what's with this book, right? I in the beginning was loving this. I was eating it up. The story itself was so good and so like what word am I thinking of? I don't even know. So addicting, so good. I literally did not want to put it down. The now and before timeline that they have. So like this is the picture for before, and then it's the same thing for now, it says. It's just like so cool because you get little snippets of the story. It's just like this crazy ride of a book, and then you get to the plot twist. And the plot twist is where it lost me. Really thought I was going into this book and it was gonna be a 5 stars. No. This book follows Casey, who lives at Lake Green. Basically, she's there trying to get away from her city life because she's an actress in the city and she wants to get away from paparazzi. And the house literally across the lake is owned by Tom and Catherine Royce. And Catherine is also a model, so she's also kind of like in this like limelight of a person. But basically, for Casey to curb her own loneliness, she basically starts people watching the people across the lake, which is the Royces. And she kind of starts to realize that maybe their relationship is not as it seems. And one day Catherine goes missing and Casey is like, I think Tom did it. So basically Casey is trying to prove that Tom is the one who kidnapped her or made her go away, the whole 9 yards. There was like really only one way I thought this book was gonna go, and which would have been fine because of how captivating the book was, like, and how good the storytelling was. And then the plot twist happened and it just seemed so far-fetched that it was just like, it like really took away from the book for me, and it just like seemed so unrealistic, and I was like, y'all are freaking crazy. Like, this is not a thing that's happening, because it was so out there, so far-fetched that just like did not seem possible, you know? So I ended up rating this book a 3.5 stars solely because of the plot twist. The other plot twist at the end I really liked, thought it was good. It was definitely more on brand for like the way the book seemed to be going, so I like that. Otherwise, yeah, it was a 3.5 stars. Like, it was kind of it was kind of disappointing for me, honestly. And the last book I actually ended up reading this month was A Court of Silver Flames, and basically you'll have to wait till my Actor video comes out for a full in-depth review of all the books. But let me just say, I actually loved this book way more than I thought. Like, it took me a while to read. I think this took me the whole month because I was kind of reading it sporadically in between other books. I ended up loving this book. I ended up loving it so much. Like, I did not realize how much I was enjoying it until like after I had finished it, because I got to a point where I was like sitting around just doing something and I thought about the characters and I was like, oh yeah, like I'll just read about them tonight. And then I was like, no, I'm not gonna read about them tonight because I finished the book. And like that was like a really sad moment for me because I was like, oh my gosh, and like I missed the characters and everything like that. So that's all I'm gonna say about it for now, because I want you guys to go watch my Avatar video. It's gonna be really exciting, especially for me. On that note, that is all the books that I ended up reading this month. Oof. Oh my goodness. Okay. But that is all the books I ended up reading this month. I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias, as well as subscribing to my channel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.